Welcome back to Capital in Command live story podcast episode. Another interesting guest, Vikram. I'll let him introduce himself, but otherwise, Vikram, who you are, what you do, and how you got to be an entrepreneur. That's your time to take it off. All.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, Alexei. Great to be here. In terms of my quick intro, I have spent the last 17 years of my life essentially identifying challenges in and around me and then figuring out problems that can be solved at scale.
Mm-hmm.
The other element that I've sort of added to that statement is I want those problems to be commercialized as well. So the ability to sort of monetize on the solution that we bring to the table. So my journey essentially has been around the startup ecosystem for about 17 years. It started way back in 2009 when we rolled out a platform that connected people with mutual crushes. The platform was called Crushader. And this is way before Bumble and Tinder became the unicorns that they are right now. So this was when I was still doing my master's from Symbiosis. It was a dating platform. Essentially, the way it worked was people had feelings for the opposite gender, but they had a hard time expressing those feelings because of three fears. So there was fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of change in relationship dynamics. And I thought of a solution where people can come and express their feelings for the opposite gender anonymously.
Mm-hmm.
And if two people express feelings on each other, the system gets to know that okay, there's a match, and then the system would let them know that hey, you guys can take the relationship to the next level if you want to. It would essentially avoid the change in relationship dynamics and the trauma that comes with rejection as such. So that scaled well, scaled it to about 600,000 users way back in 2009-10. And yeah, it was growing organically very fast. We didn't really put any money into marketing as such because uh, there was a lot of organic growth. Most of the growth essentially came from people who had crush on multiple folks. So typically, a male had a crush on at least seven females. So seven, individuals would get this email or a message that somebody feels this way for you. Why don't you come onto the platform and let us know who you like? And similarly for females, females had a crush on at least three guys from their network. So kept growing, kept growing. We got to about over 500,000 users very, very quickly. And that early traction sort of messed up my head. I already started believing that I was Mark Zuckerberg and this is the next big thing.
Like a
Yeah.
next Facebook, right? But in a dating match kind of a
Yes.
environment, right?
Yeah, Facebook was still picking up at the time. So, when you get this early attention very early on your first project itself, it sort of uh, gives you a very different high, in your own peer network. You start feeling that, okay, you're doing something extraordinary. A lot of people look up to you. They want to be like you. And
Mm-hmm.
that sort of messes up your mental ability to judge things the right way, take the right actions at that particular time. And, age also plays a role there. So it started with that. Then I built scale. Essentially, in Crochet, eventually what happened was we ran out of money. The cost of server used to be a huge thing. I was dumb or naive not to raise investment at the time. We were not able to do that. So ran out of money. The project got shelved, and then I went on to build another platform called bschool.co. This was a platform that provided holistic information around business schools across the globe. After judging them on 160 different parameters, this was acquired by a US-based entity. Uh, my mentors at the time recommended that you have a sense of taking things from zero to one. Why don't you go and work with large organizations and figure out uh, how do you build businesses one and onwards. So zero to one is difficult, but building it from 1 to 100 is even more difficult. So figure out processes, figure out how do you set instructions, manuals, codes that allow you to scale beyond where you are operating from. So multiple geographies, multiple team members operating out of different pockets with
Mm-hmm.
different mindsets and stuff like that. So did that, worked for two of the largest banks back in India, managed a portfolio of a little over $140 million for these guys. Then when I was done with about banking for about 5 years, I decided to go back to internet. And that's when I joined Times Internet Limited, which is one of India's largest media house. I was working with these guys as a zonal head for a while. And then the startup bug, bit me again. Went on to build one of India's largest vernacular EdTech test prep platform called Pariksha that focused on state-specific competitive exams. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially scaling it from the first four co-founders, like I had three other co-founders with me in the project, scaled it to 120 member team strength. Now that's no longer a bragging right though, because in the world of AI, you can do practically everything with a way leaner team. You can do that in
Mm-hmm.
8 to 10 resources. But back in the day, if you had more team members, you were able to sort of brag about the right that okay, we've scaled it to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Scaled it about 6 million users, $3 million in ARR. We raised about $3 million at a $15 million valuation. I took an exit when there was a lot of education consolidation happening in the Indian ecosystem. So I took an exit in the middle of 2022, moved my base to North America, essentially Canada. Um, Initial idea was that I'll figure out again the same thing, figure out a problem that can be solved at scale and can be monetized as well. So
Mm-hmm.
banking was one of the things that I was looking at, given that I had banking experience from back in India. And I generally feel that banking back in India has evolved significantly and way faster than most of the other markets that I've seen as such. Spent a reasonable time trying to build a solution that could be scaled in the North American or Canadian market as such. Needed open banking to come in, that never came. So early 2024, while I was consulting a bunch of different companies, I decided to join the current company where I'm working right now. So 2024 is when the Modelex journey began. This is a time when most of the solutions were text to X solutions. So ChatGPT had just rolled out, end of 2023. There was a lot of buzz around image generation, presentations, text responses, video generation, audio generation, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no platform that was truly multimodal as such, where you could have gone and you could have done everything. Now, most of the platforms are multimodal. You have companies like GenSpark, Manus, and almost all the foundational LLMs are also multimodal now. But early 2024, that was not the case. So we rolled out these capabilities, and that's how Modelex began. Modelex is funded by some of the best VCs here in the Canadian ecosystem. Uh, and then gradually, after we started with the multimodality side of things, we figured out that most of the people would want to try something like this out, but wouldn't necessarily pay for it. And given that cost of compute becomes a challenge in most of the AI startups these days, we decided to pivot to what we're doing right now, which is solving the problem of AI adoption for non-technical small, medium-sized businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a quick background of myself. Happy to
Quick
share
overview.
more.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of good gems in that thing. I think even going back to your original Mark Zuckerberg moment, uh, the interesting part that, at least to me, interesting would be like, how can you run out of money even if you had 600,000 people already on the platform? Like, what happened over there? Why you couldn't raise any more money anymore for it?
So the good thing about that idea was, I mean, usually in the world of startups, uh, companies have to go out and connect with VCs. You have to constantly identify the right set of investors who can back your idea. In our case, it was the other way around. We were approached by an Indian ecosystem had a limited set of VCs at the time. So we were approached by one of the VCs back in India. They operate with a different name now, and they arranged for everything. They arranged for our travel. We went to see these guys. The problem that we had in fundraising was I was naive. So was my co-founder. We went there with the only plan of expanding the number of users. How can we grow this to, let's say, the next 10 million, 100 million users? That
Mm.
was the only plan that we had. And the hard lesson that I learned out of that meeting was one, if you're meeting a VC, it's a solid opportunity that you're getting. So you should not go underprepared or,
Mm.
without doing enough homework around your business. And second, all the VCs talk to each other. So, so if you
Uh,
mess it up with one, you're essentially messing it up with the ecosystem that's
mhm.
essentially in that area. So, the meeting that we had, one, I believe I was, or me and my co-founder, we were fairly arrogant because the user growth was happening organically. The cost of servers at the time back in 2009-10 was pretty high. So if you're not monetizing the set of users who are using a platform, then you're burning money and you're cutting down the runway that you have. And initially, because there was a lot of buzz around it, we got money from friends and family that we were able to use. But beyond a point, if you have to continuously burn and you've not figured out the monetization part of it, you will run out of money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mess it up with one of the VCs by being arrogant or going underprepared, you're essentially messing it up for the ecosystem as such.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a painful journey. I mean, nobody likes shelving any project that you at one point of time felt could change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it was tough, but there are lessons that you learn every time you go down, and hopefully when you get back up, you get up wiser, stronger, and better. That's what I believe happened with us as well, or I'd like to believe that, and that has changed certain things for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, interestingly, so basically your break even was much much higher than 600,000 users. Like a break even on it,
Yes,
yeah.
I mean they would. I mean, we were not monetizing at all. We were just letting people use the platform for free. The only
Mm-hmm.
monetization plan that we had at the time was we'll probably bring in ads. We will let people run ads on the platform, very similar to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But that itself was immature, I would say, in terms of the plan as such. We could have figured out subscriptions. We could have figured out what most of the other companies at the time, Bumble and Tinder, they did. You are allowed to express interest in the opposite gender, a limited amount of time or a limited number of attempts. And post that, you have to take a subscription if you want to go beyond that number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We could have thought of all of that, but like I said, we were naive, we were dumb, we didn't really think on the business side of things, and that essentially led to us running out of money. And beyond a point, it sort of gets difficult to explain to people why a platform that had grown to about 600,000 users doesn't exist anymore. If you go on Facebook, in fact, right now, you'll be able to see the digital footprint of the platform. We would have about 40, 50K followers even right now on Facebook. And those are all organic. We didn't really market the product at all. It
Mm-hmm.
came in at a time when Facebook was still growing up, in
Mm-hmm.
the at least in the Indian market. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, interesting. Because I mean, in my business, like if I would have 600,000 people subscribe to what we do, oh my god, I don't even talk about it. I mean, we'll be like no one on TV by now with this time. Because I mean, my business, it
Well,
just
we actually
yeah,
got
it basically depends. It depends on the business, obviously, right?
yeah. So we did get that kind of attention. So we were covered by BBC at the time. We were covered by a couple of magazines at the time. There were people who were
Mm-hmm.
writing about us. So we got all of that attention. Like I said, most of that attention essentially, instead of helping us, messed up our mental ability to make the right calls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So is this the one of the darkest chapter for you? Like what was happening in your entrepreneur journey, or there was something else that you can probably say, hey, you know what, that was not even as painful as something else. Do you have
Oh,
anything else like that?
it I don't think the pain ever stops in the startup journey, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but that's why I'm
You
saying like you can pick and choose which one I want to talk about.
so we've been through multiple death cycles, and I'm sure that since you have startup experience, this term goes in the startup community very regularly. So there are death valleys that you have to cross in order to become more successful. We've gone through death valleys multiple times, not just in the first startup. First startup obviously didn't survive, but we've gone through death valleys. Like when we were building Pariksha, we ran out of money twice, um, almost thrice, in fact, but let's just say officially twice. And this happened at a time when we were assured that the money would actually hit the bank account. But the time from the commitment to the time actually money landing in the bank account is fairly long. You have to go through the process of due diligence. You have to go through a series of calls with consultants, with lawyers, accountants, uh, folks who need more clarity around every piece of the business before they give you the money.
Hmm.
So that time is crucial. So in our calculation, we had assumed that once the term sheet has been given, we would get the money in the next 6 weeks or about 8 weeks as
Hmm.
such. Uh, it doesn't move that fast. It takes time, especially
Hmm.
when there are stakeholders and multiple parties involved, aligning them, getting them on the call, sharing the information, working on the data points. All of that is fairly time consuming. And you have to do all of that clerical work while ensuring that the business is continuously growing, because while there's a term sheet available on the table, the uh, people who've believed in the idea, or who've given you the term sheet, they would still want to see the business going up. So
Mm-hmm.
you're the one who's also caught up in the clerical or the administrative side of work, but the business needs to continuously grow in those 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 4 months as well. Because if
Mm-hmm.
that is going down, then the term sheet can be recalled, or things can change. Till the time the money doesn't really hit the bank account, it's always in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened with us twice while we were building Pariksha. Uh, Ran out of money. Most of the people, at least teams that are working for you, you can't be very open with them. You can't say that, okay, the company doesn't have money, because then you're hitting everyone's morale, everyone's confidence,
Mm-hmm.
uh, their ability to bring more than 100% to the table every day. So you have to show as if everything is hunky dory, everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
Any time when a startup founder when a startup founder says everything is hunky dory, he's fighting 10 different battles at the back end to stay alive, to keep the
Mm-hmm.
business alive. And most people, I don't think, understand that. Builders obviously do, but by and large, the people around you, they do not. And you have to constantly keep this perception that uh, it'll get better and we are on the right trajectory and things are about to change for the better. And while you do that, the first hit is being taken by the founders, whether it is salary, whether it is um, any blame that the customers are putting in, or any delays that happen in the process. All the blames stop at the founder level. It
Mm-hmm.
rarely goes down. But the perception for all the team members is that, if there's a tough phase, then these guys are financially well placed. We are the ones who will be actually affected with anything that comes on the negative side of things. That's not the case. Founders are the first one to take the hit for everything that comes to the company.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, working while operating in the middle of that chaos and finding your calm to keep going forward, I think that's painful. And from a
Mm-hmm.
founder perspective, I believe it's the ability of a founder to endure more pain than everyone else around them and still keep figuring out solutions to problems that are being thrown every day at you. Uh, that makes you a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just stop at one instance. It keeps happening over and over and over again. So you will walk out of one problem when you enter into another one. There's competition that's coming. People are leaving you. Uh, or there is, let's say, a regulation, a government policy that changed stuff. There is something that happened in some part of the world that has an impact on your business immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
you
Yeah.
you move from one challenge to the other, and you have to keep figuring out solutions while staying pretty calm in the head with an aggressive approach to solve things quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, multiple chapters. I would say not just the Pariksha chapter. Even here in Modelex, we started with a different idea. Uh, we were building stuff, and we realized that the cost of compute was eating a sizable chunk of the money that we had in the bank account. So figuring out how do you stay alive, how do you keep building partnerships, how do you keep bringing in customers that actually see the value of what you're bringing to the table. Continue to do that while fixing problems as they come
Mm.
is challenging in itself. So I don't really feel that there is one specific chapter as such that I would say is a dark chapter of my life.
Or like a
Uh,
theme. Like
yeah,
you have a theme.
it's just that, like I said, the ability to endure more pain is something that you need to imbibe as a quality, as a trait. If you can't do that, because everyone is going to blame you for everything that went wrong, and everything that went right was because the market opportunity was there. So
Mm-hmm.
if you make the wrong calls, or even if you, at least in your head, you're making the right calls, and they don't land where they should, the blame stops at you, which is how it should be. Because at the end of the day, when the business becomes successful, um, founders will have a life-changing event happening at that time. And when you're building with purpose, when your intention is to create an impact at a large level, you mentally need to prepare yourself for all the negative or so-called dark chapters that come with it. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
comes easy. If it was easy, I would say that over a billion people would be building billion-dollar businesses. That's not happening, right?
Yeah, but then it's impossible when everyone is doing the billion-dollar businesses, right? It's like it's almost impossible. That is why I think it's so hard. I mean, yes, there's a lot of things hidden behind what's happening with the business, but it all depends on the business. It feels like in your case, by the way, you're always shooting for big business. A lot of business owners shoot for the small one. So the because cash flow is the number one killer of any business, right? If you don't have cash, it doesn't matter how great the idea is, you just can't implement it because you ran out of cash, right? So that is why like different people fight in a different way. Is an example, in our company, we don't have a big company. We have like 6 people only. That's about it. Or actually a little bit more, like 9 people right now total, for 2 different teams doing 2 different things. But otherwise, and plus the 2 founders basically, and that's it. It's like it's a small team. But because of that, we have much higher margins, so we can afford to stay afloat for longer. If you're living off of no margin, like in your case, the first company, you had no margin because there was nothing coming in. It's like you were not monetizing at all, right? Now you know, like, oh man, I need to monetize, otherwise it's not going to be great. You have to do something, right? That is why, like, but yeah, it's the stream, it's the theme of fighting or bypassing or going through the challenges and how to find a solution. That's pretty much what the entrepreneur, to me, that's what it sounds like.
Agreed. I mean, honestly, when you're an entrepreneur, at least when you have that mindset of an entrepreneur, every solution that you think of seems like $1 billion idea, at least initially. Okay. That's when you go out and you go through the process of validation. And going after larger opportunities by default makes it more meaningful, and at least that's my sense. So I've always tried working on ideas that have a large level grassroots impact. So whether it was the education business that we were building, we were essentially building it for the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities or villages back in India. It's because these guys did not have access to affordable quality education. And they had a hard time, going to expensive coaching institutes to prepare for these exams. So how can you take the best of the quality, make it more affordable, and make it more accessible in the place where people need it the most? That was the theme of the previous business. In the current business as well, the overall opportunity that we're going after is 400 million small, medium-sized businesses worldwide. So you have to go through the process of validation whether people actually need a solution that you think would change their lives. And that's where, you might start with something, and there are a lot of pivots that most of the startups go through. It's never the same idea that you start with that you end up scaling eventually. So even in case of Pariksha, we had 3 iterations. Here at Modelex as well, we've gone through a couple of pivots already to get to the offering that we feel is the offering that we would like to scale in the market. So going after an opportunity where the size of the market is huge, the impact would be huge, and you can change, or you can bring in a delta change in the value of the lives of the people that you're catering to from a solution standpoint. That's very, very important. So for all the entrepreneurs, who think that their idea, like anytime, sorry, I have a bad throat. So anytime a founder feels that my idea is the only idea that's out there in this particular domain, you're actually shooting yourself in the leg, because not only am I building the kind of business that I'm building right now, I'm also actively talking to other founders who are looking to secure investment. I'm also part of this fund called Level Up VC. I'm a deal flow partner with these guys. So I get to talk to a lot of startup folks as well. Some of them are mentors, some of them are trying to raise money. So the thing that I've realized is, more or less, a lot of people out there are trying to build the exact same thing that I'm building right now. Okay. So what's your differentiator? What's your moat? What is it that you have which is unique, which the others cannot replicate? Or what is it that that's about you, which would be way different, way more competitive, way more long-term advantage that the others do not have? So you're not just, working on your idea to make it big, you're also competing with 100 different players out there who are trying to do the exact same thing. And that's why figuring out your moat, figuring out what's your unfair advantage becomes extremely crucial while you're working on the business, the big size of the business that you're trying to cater to. And in our case, we figured out that, more or less, given how the world is operating right now on the AI side of things, technology or product or AI is a commodity today. Anybody can try and create everything.
Yeah.
They might not get to a 10 on 10 product. It might be a 7 on 10 or a 8 on 10 product, but they will be able to ship out the solution that you have. And for the end customer, they probably wouldn't know the difference between you and someone else. They'd probably see it the same way. So if the product is not the differentiator, then what is? And in our case, we are building a huge distribution cycle or a distribution advantage that others will not be able to replicate. Ours would be riding on a relationship driven large scale distribution that makes it extremely competitive at a almost zero customer acquisition cost play.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a interesting topic because yeah, it depends obviously on the industry, what you are, what you're doing. Like if you're selling the product, or if you're selling the service, right? Because the services could be different. And absolutely right. I mean, there is always somebody who is doing exactly what you were doing, and but the key difference could have been as simple as they know one is knows the market, how to actually market your services. The other one has no idea, has only the great even better idea of how to do basically to solve the solution, to make the solution for whatever the problem these people have, right? But they don't know how to market themselves. They have no idea how to advertise or even how to emotionally connect with people, with customers. And because of that, they will be completely ignored. And this one, maybe it's mediocre solution, but it will be the best thing ever, and everyone knows about it, right? But you never know which one will win. So that's why, yeah, it's like, thinking about cash flow up like ahead of time, and thinking about, is the whatever you're doing is marketable or not? Because if you cannot market it and cannot sell, meaning that you cannot even offer it to customers, the customers understand you, really need it, because they may not even know that they need it. Maybe you were just ahead of the time. It's like, yes, it's a great thing, but nobody cares about it right now. Maybe in 10 years from now, they will care. But right now, like, okay, it's fine. Right. So
Agreed. I mean,
that's the challenge of any entrepreneur, in my opinion.
yeah,
Because, yeah,
sometimes you have to go through the cycle of educating your customers that you actually need this.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and once they've used it, then they're like, oh, this is actually changing my life. This is making things better,
Hmm.
easier, and cheaper for me. This is something that I needed for a while. So figuring that out is extremely important. I strongly feel that customers who've tried you once give you the opportunity to improve on the product. But getting in front of those customers quickly, or better, cheaper, faster than everyone else, is extremely important in terms of winning. An excellent product that's sitting in a room that nobody knows about will always lose to maybe not as good as a product, but very well marketed. Uh,
Hmm. Yeah.
and the market would win. So, uh, yeah, take the product out there. Take it to the customers. Let them try it out. You'll get feedback. Improve, improve. You'll keep improving. And I've not seen any service, any product, any offering out there in the market that started with one thing and hasn't changed. They're constantly improving. They're
Hmm.
constantly working on the feedback that they keep collecting from the market, and that's very, very important. If
Yeah.
you're not doing that, then you will be the next Nokia that was leading the market at one point of time, and nobody's talking about it right now. You could be that's the exact same thing that happened with the company here in Canada. It's called BlackBerry. So at one point of time, BlackBerry was the
The
device.
number one. Yeah, number one. Everyone wants BlackBerry, right?
Now nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, I actually use it in my discussion with people because, again, I'm in the stock market, and if I look back in 2007, when Apple just came up with the iPhone one, like, the first version iPhone, and they were competing with BlackBerry. So BlackBerry was so hot that, like, everyone was thinking, oh yeah, iPhone is just for nerdy people, for
Yeah,
geeks, right? But the BlackBerry, Washington D.C. people use it, right? All the government uses, like every business person has to have BlackBerry. And now, who the hell even knows what they do these days? They still exist, by the way. They
they
still
do.
up. It's
They're
like,
more on the hardware
literally,
side.
I have no idea what they do, but yeah.
They do exist. I mean, most of these companies, including Nokia, they've pivoted more towards the hardware side of things. They're not. I mean, obviously, handhelds are hardware devices, but more on, I would say, the hardware network or distribution side of things now, more
Hmm.
than consumer facing products.
Yeah, but I mean, same thing can be said about, let's say, like, the Kodak
Yes.
cameras. I mean, it was the hottest thing ever, right? Everyone talked about it, but now, again, I have no idea what they do now. I think they still exist. I hope they exist, right?
They
But
they do. I'm sure that they still make cameras, maybe not as good as the the set of cameras that we have on devices, but I'm sure that they exist. So you'll have to continuously iterate. You'll have to continuously improve. You'll have to go with where the market is taking you. Change is something that is extremely important for businesses. I would say, in fact, when you're building a startup, you're trying to handle 10 different challenges. Change is one of them, evolving markets, resources, capabilities, change in the dynamics of the customers that you're catering to, geographical
Mm-hmm.
changes, uh, income group changes. This is happening while you're building the business. So you'll have to continuously iterate and adapt to what the market really needs at that time. Sometimes you'll be ahead of the market, sometimes you'll be behind, but as long as you keep figuring things out, as long as you keep taking the feedback and continuously improve and do that faster than the folks around you, you will always have something that the people would pay for. And as a business, it's important that you figure that out very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, which is actually my typical question. Like, what kind of a pivotal moment do you had? I think you had plenty already. Like, you just discussed several. It's like it's the theme, right? So maybe you can go ahead and talk
Yeah,
about
it is.
that
I
a little
mean,
bit more.
every
Yeah.
time we've thought that, okay, this is the solution that actually would be the winner solution in the market teaches you something completely different. That, okay, you think this is what I need, but in reality, this is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of times when you don't open yourself to taking that feedback seriously or quickly, and that delay also hurts the business. In our case, in fact, when we were building Pariksha, we didn't really start as a state-specific competitive exam platform. We started as a campus placement preparation platform. So back
Mm-hmm.
in India, we have about over 1 million people that graduate every year from different colleges. So over 1 million engineers who graduate every year, about 1.4 million, in fact. And 50% of these guys are computer science grads. And
Mm-hmm.
we, with the campus placement solution, we were catering to 90% of these guys at the time. So Pariksha started as a campus placement preparation platform. And we were catering to the best of the colleges that the Indian ecosystem had. We had IITs and BITS and NITs, and in terms of the bigger ones and older ones, Jadavpur, Jantua. These are some of the names that people back in India would be able to relate to. All large universities were working with us. The challenge that we had was the payment cycles for these educational institutes was not in order. So you would always have somebody passing on the responsibility to another person, that, hey, this person is not available, so the check wasn't signed, or the director is not there, or the dean's not there, or the approval is still pending. And this is after you've delivered the services. So not only starting with a solution that you think would sell in the market, uh, doing diligence around how quickly can you change your offering would also matter if your business would survive or not. So we started with this. We had a hard time collecting payments. We then pivoted to building softwares for coaching institutes that
Mm-hmm.
we can take their offering to the market. We can give them the technology, and then these guys can build their educational content on top of the platform and then take it to a larger audience. Tried that, sold it to a couple of customers, and we realized that scaling this would be a very, very difficult proposition. And getting all these brick and mortar coaching institutes to use technology was a challenge at the time. So we were like, instead of making them use the technology or empowering them with technology, how about we just bring the two together? We will continue to handle technology, we
Mm-hmm.
will put in the distribution, they get the content, and the end customer wins. They get the best of both. They get to have credible, accessible, affordable education on their handheld devices at the time of their choosing. And
Mm-hmm.
that became the winning offering for us.
Mm-hmm.
Here at Modelex as well, we went through a couple of iterations. The first one was a solution for the retail market. Anybody could come and create, a presentation with a single prompt, or simply just dump in an audio file, a video file, and a PDF, and say, "Give me a good presentation based on all the context that you have." And we were doing that for people. So from a fat perspective, it was good. People were liking it. People were using it. But is it something that people would pay for? We realized it pretty late. Most of the LLMs, most of the large players, even right now, whether it is Llama, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, they don't have more than 6% paid users on the retail side. So they might have 1 billion users using them every month, but less than 4 to 5% people actually pay them for their services.
Mm-hmm.
People want to
Mm-hmm.
use them for free. So if that's a market that you're competing against, um, and you do not have the amount of capital that these guys are sitting on, it's a game that you will lose. So figuring out the next possible best thing for your business would be to look at a market that less people are tapping into. The other opportunity for us in Modelex was looking at enterprise solutions. Can we build something where enterprise would continue to pay us? But given the capabilities that exist on the coding side today, or technology side, or AI, it is extremely easy for everyone to reverse engineer a solution that you have.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
differentiator between you and the others would be that, okay, they might have more data than you, but if you're building it for internal purpose, you just need your own data. You don't really need the market data as such at that time. And most of the large players are not very comfortable taking their data to a third party. They don't want to take that outside. And the sales cycles on the enterprise sides are killing. It's 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And when you have that long as a sales cycle, as a startup, if you're only onboarding 10, 12, 15 customers a year, and these customers will be able to reverse engineer the solution to cater to their needs, you're again trying to fight a battle that you'll lose in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
That's why for identifying the niche that we're going after right now, even if you make all the tools available to the market that I'm talking about, they want someone else to do it for them. So it's a do it for me solution. It's not a solution that you try and use yourself. You come to us, you take the subscription, we handle everything for you. So although it's an AI business, but it has a strong sense of services model behind it. So there's always a human in the loop who's taking care of all critical action items for you.
Yeah, I mean, true. Because otherwise, yeah, especially with AI, anyone can do a lot of things.
Yes.
Especially, unfortunately, AI. I mean, it's its own big topic, but AI creates the wave of next failures. By the way, I don't know how long it will take. Maybe a year, maybe less. But whoever is relying too much on AI to now come up with all kinds of solutions will backfire a little bit down the road. I'm sure of it, because let's say, like, again, I'm coming from the trading space, from the stock trading space. A lot of people right now are saying, "Oh, I don't need a mentor. I have AI. It will create all the strategies for me and will trade for me. Like, I don't need a human being, basically," which is not true. You're not trading based on just mechanical things. Mechanical things is only 10% of the trading. Like 90% is psychology, basically. How can you survive this? How can you do this? How can you do that? So I'm sure that, like, the lag exists because people are so excited because its adaptation to the AI is so high. Like, I started using ChatGPT in 2023.
Yeah.
Just at the time, I was doing it for, like, proofreading my book. It was not even writing the book, just proofreading my book. And actually, it was deliberately telling that don't modify anything, just proofread and be basically an editor. And still, I hired an editor to get my book edited, because the editor was still much better than ChatGPT at the time. But and now I can probably hand over the whole book and can write the whole book with just a few prompts from me.
Yes.
Not that I want to do it, to be honest, but I still want to do it in the old-fashioned way. I'm writing my second book right now, not trying to advertise it, but still, like, it's amazing what AI can do now. But at the same time, I feel like, oh man, so right now, so there will be so many books out there which will be written by AI, so many PowerPoints presentation which are created by all
Yes.
this business, like, the typical business document, the business proposal, right? Now AI can write it for you in 5 minutes. You just prompt it the right way, but then it encourages you, like, oh, great idea, great this, do this, it's so good. Oh, you nailed it. Okay, it kind of encourages you, especially if you're doing something wrong. It still encourages you to do the wrong thing. So that's why I'm saying, like, the wave of failures is coming. It just take a
Yes.
little bit longer, and people will realize that it's not a silver lining. I mean, it's not a solution, the silver bullet, sorry, not lining, but silver bullet that actually solves everything for them. But that's coming. I don't know what's your take on it, because
My
yeah.
my take would be, I mean, AI is here to stay for sure. You would not see a similar scenario as the dot-com bubble that we had back in the past. So AI is here to stay for sure. It's just that on the startup side of things, a lot of companies have raised money on the initial fad that people saw. So you saw a solution, you liked it, you probably paid for 1 month, and then you didn't renew. The
Mm,
fad was gone after a month. You didn't renew, and if you're not renewing, which is what I see most of the startups struggling with, you'll have to continuously onboard new customers, and you have a solid leaky bucket at the back end. Everything that you're putting in is going out. So,
mhm.
and there are a lot of companies like that, without naming any company as such, and that's the hit that I believe the market would see. AI is supposed to make you, way more capable, I would say. You have more means available to do more than what you were able to do in the past. You have the option of becoming the slave to AI, or you have the option of becoming the driver of AI. In our case, we're trying to be the latter here. But my sense is that those who have used AI, haven't really harnessed the true power of it yet.
Hmm.
There's some time for it. Sorry. And it's evolving so fast, the models are becoming so better that your dependency on AI would continue to increase. And as long as you can figure out a way to balance the approach where AI handles some part of it. Sorry. Yeah, so AI handles some part of it, and you still are using your human instincts. That will be extremely important.
Hmm. I mean, it's true. It's just, again, it's like way back we had people who were called calculators, right? So they were
Yes.
calculating. Now we actually have these things, the phones, which is pretty much a computer, not even a calculator anymore, right? It used to be like, oh yeah, the BlackBerry, but speaking of, where you can type in the message and send the message or email, which was like, oh wow, that's so good. Right now, these iPhones or whatever, the smartphones, they can basically be a computer in your pocket, and a computer is obviously much more powerful. So AI is just another tool, in my opinion. Yes, it's much smarter and much easier to use. It can simplify your life. It can improve your life, but it's not a full replacement of your life. It's not going to can delegate to it and say, okay, yeah, great, now it's going to be all done for me. No, it's not there yet. I mean, maybe in some future, who knows? Maybe we'll be just people sitting around and everything else will be done by AI. Who knows? Uh, Maybe
Yeah,
it's coming.
the
Yeah.
ability to use AI would strongly determine who's able to do more than the others. And if you're able to build on top of the capabilities, you'll continuously win. If you're just using it to do what you could have done previously, then you're not playing a game you're not playing a winning game essentially. So
Hmm.
if you were able to do X and now you're using AI to do that X, you will be behind all the others who are able to do 3X or 4X of that. So your ability to use AI to continuously do more and better than the others is where the winning game would be. For a lot of players as well who are building solutions like this, there's an incredible company that I am following very closely. In fact, I've chatted with the guy as well a couple of times. There's this company called Whisper Flow. It's a dictation model.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
they've raised about $280 million, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, at a $2 billion valuation. Their game is not competing with all the other LLMs right now. They've figured out something that's unique to them, which is the dictation model. So how can you take multiple language inputs? How do you give it a reasonable context? And that context allows you to, sort of dictate everything rather than typing it, which saves you a ton of time. They'll obviously figure out more in terms of the offering, but the starting offering itself is very compelling. It's very exciting to use as such.
Hmm. Yeah. True. I mean, I've heard of it because, again, I was in mastermind of some marketing, and people in marketing, especially, like, oh, if you have some idea and they want to like type in, instead of type it in, just use the whisper, because you can. It's better than just the dictation on your phone, because it's much more. It's smarter. It can. You don't have to keep correcting it, because it
Yes.
literally picks it up for you,
Yeah.
like a lot easier to pick it up what you're trying to say, so that even if you slur something, it still comes out, and it knows, because it uses AI behind the scene to actually unravel what you're saying, right, and kind of trains for you. But I mean, I haven't used it myself, but yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Whisper,
Yeah, it
specifically.
is a good
Yeah.
solution. I think most of the people who have used it will try and relate it to the Jarvis experience from Iron Man. We had built a similar solution. Obviously, Whisperflow has marketed their solution way better, and I generally feel it's a solution which is very good. But there are a lot of people, like when I said, I talked to a lot of founders. Out of the 20 people that I've spoken to, 10 are building Jarvis. Okay, so
Mm,
a lot of people trying to build the same solution out there. The one who takes it out or gets it to the customers faster than the others is where Whisper Flow has an
mm,
advantage. And yeah, I'm sure that they'll figure out more in terms of what you can do with voice
mhm.
without the essence of typing as such. There are more companies in that space that are working on similar solutions.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the dictation existed forever already, right? Trying to
Yes,
dictate, and so they didn't take something absolutely groundbreaking. It's like they're just improving what existed forever,
yes.
but they're just trying to make it as a different product, different marketed product. So yeah. And by the way, so we're pressing on time already, like not pressing, but it's like, wow, time flew by. And remember how we talked about, you thought that it's not going to be in 45 minutes. We are at 45 minutes already, surprisingly. And we keep talking about AI, all that stuff. So maybe if you can just enlighten us a little bit more again, what you are doing right now and what you are looking forward to, like what kind of a thing you're looking forward to do
So
in
we are,
your entrepreneur journey.
I've already given a teaser of that when I talked about Whisper Flow. So Tane and his company, they are building, let's say, a Jarvis kind of an experience. At least that is what they aspire to do. Or maybe they're trying to do something way better than that. We have plans of rolling out certain capabilities as well for mass scale users, where we would give them a personal assistant that is connected to almost everything that they use in their daily lives, whether it is ordering food, ordering a cab, taking care of their appointments, taking care of reminders, events. The ability of this agent to handle things that you would want it to handle, or you would want the other humans in your network to handle. Those capabilities would be rolled out fairly quickly, and we'll be rolling it out to a sizable chunk of customers on the distribution layer that we're looking at. So that
Mm,
solution is coming. Once it is out, probably we'll be sharing more about it. But the intent is to bring in an agent that you will be able to count on. That okay, if I assign a task to this agent, the agent will get it done. Whether it is, I mean, dictation is just one of the capabilities in that solution that we're looking at. But it'll be able to handle all your phone calls inbound. It'll be able to make phone calls for you. Um, there are capabilities that exist even right now, but what we've solved for is the problem of compute. For anyone who's trying to take it to a market where you would want people to try it out for free initially, we have figured a solution around that, and that's what we'll be rolling out at
mm,
a sizable scale, not
mm-hmm,
just in one market but multiple markets globally.
mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting. Basically, you're trying to create like an assistant, basically virtual assistant, right?
I wish I had the option of taking Jarvis as the name. It's just that there are too many copyrights, that are protecting it. But yeah, we'll have a name that will try and resonate with most people, if not all.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So, Vikram, thanks again for coming in here. It's been great. I mean, we had a lot of different topics that we touched, which I think they're important for, again, especially if you're trying to scale as a sizable company. Like if you go for a small company as the business owner, it's one thing, but when you go for much bigger market, much bigger user base, it's totally different. It's like the tip about like if you're not prepared to talk to a VC, don't talk to a VC basically. They live in their own world. you will be you'll be tainting yourself in that world if you just don't know what the hell you're doing, right? Be prepared, basically.
Yes,
That's a good tip, I think.
that's
On its
very
own. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a hard learned lesson, but yes, that's a lesson that I got very early on in my career.
Yeah, but that's what's great. I mean, because that's what I like about this podcast. Because I think in every single episode, regardless what we're touching, I personally learn a lot of new things, like things that I would never even thought about myself. And that's what I like it, right? So that as you learn that in the future, what if I need to raise money for my company and I need to talk to VC? Well, I need to approach it a different way, right? So this little tips and tricks and not even tips or trips. It's more like again the experiences of others. It's better not to reinvent the wheel yourself over and over. You just learn it from mistakes of others. That's what we do ourselves too. Like we're trying to teach them how to, let's say, trade, so you don't do the same mistakes that we did,
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
So
I mean,
it's the
honestly, podcasts have helped me a lot personally. I have all the set of folks that I follow, they've been on some or the other show. So the learnings that they share on these shows, they sort of help you in avoiding the mistakes that they have made in the past.
yeah,
Okay, and
exactly,
and, and,
yeah.
and that's uber helpful for somebody who's looking to start their journey new, or somebody who's trying to figure out how do we pivot. So extremely important, extremely useful for sure. I'm not sure what amount of learning I have shared on the on the show here, but this is an incredible mean for people who are trying to build new businesses, new ventures. Learning from the experience of others is always helpful. You will still end up making a lot of your own unique mistakes, but you'll at least avoid the mistakes that people have made in the past.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I decided to start this whole podcast series to begin with, and it looks like it took off a little bit, so which is great. But I'm grateful that I have the stream of interesting guests with all kinds of challenges that they had to go through. That's why I always ask about the challenges in the dark chapters, because I'm trying to get the learning experience from these people, and it's not only for myself but for whoever's listening to this, because I think it's great. It's great to learn that way, because it's almost like having a mastermind. Like, I don't know if you've read Napoleon Hill, and in his book he was saying that, okay, you need to have an imaginary mastermind group where you kind of bounce ideas, but this is more like a real people. You don't need to have imaginary people. It's actual real people. Surprisingly, by the way, you can do this as a little the tip for you. You can do that exact thing with AI right now. You can create your own board of advisors in AI and say, hey, what would Elon Musk say to this particular idea, and like trash it the way that he would do, or like what Warren Buffett will say, trash it the way he will do, like, or whatever it is. Like, pick your favorite, and then AI can actually do it in that voice, which
Yeah.
is surprising.
I mean, very rightly said. I think there are a lot of founders that I know, and I do it myself as well. I would ask AI to shoot me down on the set of ideas that I'm working on, or any approach that I have in mind, or any discussion that I'm about to get into. How would you shoot me down if you were on the other side of the call and your purpose was to shoot me down? How would you do that? And that allows you to prepare a ton before any conversation, any plan, any approach, any insight that you would want to get. So allows you to prepare significantly better than people who are not doing this.
Yeah, that is true. I've been using that technique too, so I think it's not everyone figured it out yet, by the way, but I hopefully, again, if whoever is listening still, the 52nd minute of this podcast, you got some extra tidbits of information. So so Vikram, thank you very much for coming in. I think it was a great episode with lots of information, lots of actually new. You think that, and the thing is that we all boil in our own juices, so we think that, like, whatever we say is not really that important or not really that groundbreaking, but for some people it could be. You just never know who that is, right? So that is why it's like, it's great to share your experiences and your ideas, because it may actually help somebody else out there, and you never know who it's going to be, right?
See, startups in itself, they are very challenging. The thing that I started with, it's a painful journey. It definitely gets better, uh, or at least you get stronger to handle pressure situations going forward, even if it's not getting better. But you as an individual will improve significantly when you're trying to build a business. There are so many elements to it. There are so many sites that you have to handle as a business owner. It changes you. It makes you a very different person from how you started with. And I generally would recommend that everyone should try their hands on building a company. You might succeed, you might not succeed, but you'll definitely walk out a better person once you're done with the first project that you
That
work.
is true. Yeah, that is so true. So Vikram, once again, thank you for coming. And hopefully, I don't know, as I was always saying, like, finishing the episodes, like, maybe we can talk in a year and see how we are doing, kind of like a repeat, not repeat, but like a what happened in between. Like, maybe some new pivots happened in between, some new things happened, new ideas, right?
Definitely, 100%. Thank you for having me on the show, Alexei. It's always fun talking to you, and thanks for taking the time today.
All right, thanks.
Right.
Bye.